Just apply pressure gently and hold it there. Yeah, it's coming. And we do have another challenge, and this time is a white Mercedes EQC. What do we have here, Lal?
Some communication fault and the battery module voltage also impulsive.
Everything set up to start the charging process. So he did already the magic. Now it is the time to check. So we have managed to get rid of the control unit must be replaced error. So this was the task.
Not even the cleverest guy in the world would be able to fix this problem without having a proper functional battery that doesn't have any stored errors over there.
Hello from OGS Mechanics and OGS Mechanics Hybrid and EV. I'm George, and here in our workshop we fix cars. All types of cars, but mainly specializing in hybrids and EV vehicle like this. Stay close for interesting repairs translated in videos. So we have charged the battery, we have reset the control unit that had permanent errors. Now the dilemma is, do we seal the battery and put it back? Is this all fixed? Will it operate fine? We've decided that we're only going to put a cover and get the battery back on the car to run some tests, because we are not certain. In theory, it should work, but what if we have any more issues? So that being said, we're going to put the cover on and get the battery on the car to see whether it will run. Whether the second bank that it was faulty it'll actually come to life. Battery is now assembled and ready to go to the car. Oh, this is not an easy one, quite heavy. Quite heavy, huh? I think we'll need more manpower.
Oh, I saw this.
Huh? Rodents? I hope there are not any in there.
Very much.
Huh?
But there is no full course, the open circuit or nothing.
Yeah, hopefully. Look, there's some cars. Looks like rodents, they have a nest in here. At some point, hopefully we're not gonna pick up any live ones. So we need the special tools to line up the battery and get it up connected. So the plan is, we're gonna connect the battery to the car. Obviously, we're gonna do the cooling first of all, or we're gonna plug in.
You plug in and we can check.
Yeah. So we're not gonna do the cooling straight away. We're gonna connect the battery. We're gonna connect all the wiring. We wanna see the error codes to see if the error codes have cleared. There's a slight doubt that we might still gonna get into the, if you remember our diagram, into the BMS 2, the N82.2, we're gonna still have the error. So initially the BMS 1, it was down on 10%. Now it matches the charge on the BMS 2. We cleared the error codes from here. We took the data from this controller and put it into this. So from here into this. But we have to see whether we're gonna still have errors in the main one. So this is the plan. Let's see. This is a special tool that it seems to be very good for this type of work. The plan is that we're only going to secure the battery on the fuel minimal position, probably 8. So just to have it attached to the body while we running the test, because It's still the testing stage. If everything goes right, the battery will come out again. Hopefully hopefully the battery is out, and it's all good. I mean, the car should run anyways because it was running. Now the problem is if it's gonna get discharged, will it discharge? Will it use both batteries, or if we're gonna get it charged more, will it charge both batteries? So this is gonna be the question on, and whether we can clear all the error codes. So few connection at the back, high voltage cables, couple in the front, and that's about it. We are getting ready to do the testing. We've done the bare minimum that we needed to do with the battery to have it attached to the car, and now we're getting ready for the testing time. Let's go, Lal. Service connector, it's already connected. We are connecting the 12-volt battery, and we are getting ready to have it scanned to see what the Mercedes is going to say now. Have a look on the dash. We have the malfunction sign. However, we have 219 range. That's the range calculated on both batteries, 219. Now, let's see what happens if we turn the ignition on. So it could be that when we're gonna turn the ignition on, this is gonna go to half, basically just one battery. Or if it stays like that, we might have the system running. However, we still have an error code. Let's see what's there. Let's see if it stays on 219. So far, it's good. So, we are finally getting to our batteries. Let's see what errors do we have. The good thing is we have all those stores. So what stores means, they're not present. If they are present, they'll be current. Look at that. Look at that. So it did the trick. It looks like this error that was also permanent before. Can we refer to our board? So we had initially in the BMS error related with cell imbalance. And then in the BMS N82.2, what was the error? Exactly the error that is there now.
Same error code BMS, but the BMS one is module replacement.
Yeah, the BMS one, it said the controller has to be replaced. However, it did the trick. Now, let's see, because all of them, they look stored, which should clear. Obviously, we have not done yet. We have to make sure that the battery is going to start to get used and charged. So we're going to clear the code. We're going to put the ready on for a few seconds.
Charging.
Nothing is going to happen in a few seconds. And probably only then we're going to put coolant in it to be able to do charging or using a bit of battery. So although we cleared the errors, for us what is important now, making sure that both batteries, they're going to work together. We're getting there. And have a look, rescanning. We love this, all green. So our main thing, the batteries, all green. Let's see, what's this here, current. Control reset was performed, so not even an error. Let's try to have ready. Actually turn off. Let's see. So all looks good. We have the right range, 219. What we want to do again, Let's plug the hotel to read battery stats now connected on the car to make sure that the cell voltage is balanced. But so far, it looks good. Obviously, we also need to test, make sure that they will operate correctly. But so far, I think we've done the trick with the.
So start to coolant.
What do you think?
Like, first we can check the battery is balanced or not. It should work.
It should be fine. So we change the plan. We're only gonna check if the battery are balanced.
Then charging.
No, charging just a little bit.
Yeah, just connect. Try to charging fine or not. We can take it out, reset.
Yeah, ideally, but since obviously the error have been cleared, not really expect they're gonna come back. But let's plug on also the hotel to read battery data. But we have the range as it should be. So before we move forward, we want to see the stats of the battery. Hold on. This is not very good. So its value here is not as good as we expect it to be. Ideally, somewhere around 20 millivolts. Now, is this where everything started? It's strange because on the data we couldn't see anything, and initially when they had the charge, this was quite balanced.
Yeah, I think 10 or 20 millivolt difference.
And the second battery actually looks very good. Well, we have the car working, so we're gonna put everything back.
Then take the test drive.
Yes. There's still a question mark as it stands. We've made a bit of progress because we have batteries error-free now. Let's see if they're gonna stay like that and if the vehicle will operate fine. So shall we take it off and seal it?
Seal it.
Yeah, and then start test, because from what I can see, we'll definitely have to do some tests with it. Some good news, some not so good, but we just have to test more to really understand whether there is an underlying issue, which, you know, it's always a question mark. Why the cell imbalance? Where it came from? Yeah. So this is our plan. We're gonna drop the battery. We're gonna seal the cover on. Hopefully we won't have to take it.
Just maybe to clear.
Or should you put a coolant and run the? Because it's dry outside.
That's a good thing.
Should I do that rather?
Yeah, we can put the coolant, bleed the system, put for charging.
Yeah, so actually we're gonna do things differently. We put a cover on, which is good enough for dry weather, and it is dry now in London. Now, before we go and spend a lot of time taking the cover off, seal it.
Maybe it's unbalanced.
Maybe it's unbalanced and we have to replace one of the modules. So what we're gonna do, we're actually going to secure the battery better, put a coolant, bleed the system, and do some drive tests. Because it's a bit of a doubt that we might still have to work in the battery. And here, what is not good on this way that design on this battery is only 3 modules.
Yes.
Jaguar I-Pace or Porsche Taycans, you've got 36 if it goes just one. But here we're talking about big module. It's going to be quite expensive if it comes to it. Let's see. So let's do that then. Yeah. This is the plan. Let's test more to see, because this battery might actually have to come down, not to have the cover sealed, but just that to have some work done on one of the elements, one of the modules. We'll see. And we are now getting ready, testing the Mercedes, see exactly how the battery is going to perform under load. Will it become more settled or more imbalanced? Will it need more to it, or it will recover and the Mercedes will be fine? We have few answers, a few questions that needs answers. Let's go. So let's see where we start. So the battery one, the one that was initially discharged, we have an imbalance on module 1. So that's how it looks. So in here, this is 407, where all the others 4.4 and 79 millivolts. So that's quite imbalanced. Let's see how everything is going to be when we're going to have some load on it. So we are heading on M1 northbound. We still show 194 miles. We put the AC, so we try to get a bit of load on the battery just to see how that cell behaves on the load. What are results, Abi? Can you film that? So 90, 80, which is still a lot. Now let's see what's happening with a bit of load. Still shows around 80, which is high. Now obviously, when we start this work on the car, the module, the bank one, the battery one, was quite balanced. The problem only started after the first charge, but even when we had it on the bench, the data was quite good. Question: is this the cell, the reason for which the battery has caused the problem in the first place? Because the error said it was an imbalance in the battery. However, when we read, the battery looked okay. So far what we have there, it does not look good. But we'll try to put some more miles and see exactly how this is going to behave. There's a possibility that we're going to end up again with the battery one being disconnected because of cell imbalance. Let's see. So far we've covered about 22 miles. So we are about more than 3/4 left of the battery, 178 range. We use AC. Now the battery is not better, it's not worse. So the module one is still in balance, with cell 27 showing a difference of, what do we have now, Abby? 80 millivolts. So it's interesting. I was expecting to actually for that cell to get worse under load. However, it did not. It is not necessarily meaning that it's all fine. It's still not okay that is imbalance. So what we are planning to do, try to use the battery because we want to see how that cell is going to behave on the lower end. We're expecting one of the two things, to get either better or worse. So we'll see once we have battery down to a very low level of charge, and then we'll make a decision. At the moment, it's not clear whether the battery will come back off again, whether we have to replace a module, or whether the car is going to be fine just like that. Let's see. We have been extensively testing the Mercedes. Let's see how the battery looks like, because now we managed to drop it down to a level of 25 miles. Now, when we started, we had 70 to 80 millivolts. What this figure tells me is that that particular cell, which is exactly cell 27, is actually not very bad. Now, and what we have noticed during the driving, and this is an important aspect to understand about the electric cars, the battery becomes imbalanced when one of the cells is discharging quicker than the others. But what's happening with our cell number 27 is actually discharging in the same rate with the others, although is imbalanced on the steady level. So whenever we have 3.55 and then 3.51 on number 27. So this tells me that the cell actually is not very bad, it's just a bit out of balance. What we're going to do, we're going to put it on charge again, and hopefully on a full charge the ECU might try to balance it. And if that's the case, whenever we're going to have 100%, we'll see a different value here if it works. Let's see. So we'll put it on charge, leave it overnight, and we'll check again in the morning. Something else to be fixed on this charging flap. Locked in, and it's going. Yeah, perfect. So we'll resume after a few hours and see whether the battery will become balanced. Let's see. We've done a few cycles with the Mercedes where having the battery fully charged, then use it to see exactly how we will manage to balance, or if we're going to manage to balance. Because the problem is, if the cells are not even, are not well balanced, two things are going to happen. One, we're going to lose range. But the other thing is, it might not stay there. It's either going to go worse if we don't manage to balance it. What did we manage to do? Because if we can't get balanced this battery, we cannot seal it up and finish it off, because there's risk this is going to get worse, and then we're going to end up having to take the battery off again, as we might have a faulty cell. Let's see exactly what are the readings now. So when we started off, we have 70 millivolts imbalance in the module 1, the one that initially triggered the error code. Let's see where we are now. Currently, we have 37 miles range left, so about probably just below 25%. And this is the second cycle of using the car. Now, when it comes to error codes, the car is error-free. And let's see how balanced is the battery. If you remember, our initial problem was on the system 1. Let's start with the system 2 and see what stats we have the battery. Look at that, this is well balanced, very good. So this is module 2, which was operating, and state of charge 33%. And let's check here, 3.6 cell voltage. Now this is in very, very good condition. Let's go back to hours 1. If we remember, 70 millivolts. Has it gone worse? Better? Well, at least so far we don't have any records, but let's see the stats now. There you go, 10-20 millivolts. So this module also came very well in balance. The module 27, which was slightly lower discharge comparing to the other one, is balancing quite nicely, which is a good news, because it looks like we are on the track. Now, what is happening, we've done 2 cycles of using the battery and then put it on charge, slow charge, and it looks like the BMS has done the trick. And not even that, it looks like also that particular cell is not in a bad condition, because if that would be in a bad condition, the discrepancy, the imbalance would become just bigger. So we're just going to drive a little bit more. We want to get, so we have 24%, so we see the cell voltage is 3.6. We're going to discharge this battery a bit more, and then we're going to put it on the final charge, and we have to take the battery off to finish sealing the battery, but we are getting close to sign off the job. We're getting there. Let's do another quick test to see how we drive, how what stats we have on underload. What we are monitoring under the load test is making sure that particular cell is not bad, and it's not bad, we know that already, because it gradually comes in line with all the others. So our plan is to discharge the battery a bit more, so we only have 29 miles left, which is probably about 20%. Put it on a slow charge, and after that gets completed, we are planning to take the battery off, because we haven't sealed it finally. We only put the lid on so we can run those tests to understand whether the car is going to be fine. So now the car will go back to the workshop on charge, and let's see how it's going to perform with a full battery on a full charge, and what exactly the delta value is going to be like. This is our most important thing, but it looks like we are on the right way. We have been making progress with the EQC. just got the battery module back on because we have filming the intro for the EQC. But everything looks good because after the charge, we still have the battery balance, and it looks like all is going in the right direction. And having that done, we are kind of ready to finalize the job. What we have to do, we have to seal properly the cover, have to clean, seal it, make sure that it's all tight. But what exactly happened on this one? Now we have the battery stripped. It's so easy to understand. So when we started, we had the BMS 1, BMS 2. One 95%, the other one 10%. So when we started, we had the left part of the battery, which is the battery 1, under charge, and not even that. It was not charging no matter what procedure we have followed, even with the manufacturer tool and procedure. And then we had to find a different way around it. And after we balanced both batteries, we did the hack. This is the module that operates the second part of the battery. So we took the data out of this and wrote it onto the other battery control unit. And now what that made, it made the error clear. Obviously afterwards we have been left with a different problem. The problem that it was still an element low. A cell was slightly out of balance, which is interesting. Why this is the case, because when we started, the readings were quite okay, and even after we finalized the charging on the bench, the reading were okay. Anyway, after a few driving cycles, both battery, they come in line, and not just the battery, because this is the battery, complete battery. All the cells are in line, and we are within the range that we want to see of 20 millivolts. So we believe that driving further the vehicle and do some cycles of charging, we should be all spot on. So it looks like the hack has fixed the problem. Now, there's obviously quite an important question in here, isn't it? I think we're going to get to that after we're going to seal the battery, have the Mercedes all one piece again, and ready to go, because there's still some questions to be answered. But I think so far we have overcome the challenge, and this was the biggest challenge, to try to get the information manipulated somehow. Was interesting, wasn't it? It is the time to move the battery into our bay, have it clean, sealed, and ready to go back on the car in a dry function. Sealing the battery is a very important aspect, and we are nearly close to it. Look at the maze. Did we touch base on the maze? And you know what we haven't discussed, Lal? This is a good question. So we have 6 modules in the battery. So basically 2 batteries, each battery 3 modules. Are the modules interchangeable, left to right? What would you say? Initially we said they would. So probably have 2, so it's one model, copy, paste. They're not. So 6 models, 6 different models. It's a bit, because you're thinking it would be easier probably to get spare parts if they are same type, but they're not. So those battery, 6 modules, 6 different modules. Compared to Jaguar 36, all the same. Are they all the same?
All same.
Or 2 types?
No, all same.
They're all the same, yeah? Anyway, that's what it is on the EQC. And we are getting ready to take the EQB back to the, take the battery. EQC, EQC, EQC. So many EQC, EQE, EQB, EQA, EQs, EQs. We have the battery fully assembled, and we're just discussing with Lal about the cooling maze and how interesting. So each element, it has 1 in, 1 out for each module of the battery. Quite an interesting, and how important again is the cooling for the batteries, yeah, and how comprehensive from an engineering point of view it is. That being said, let's drive the EQC battery. Oh. Lal, do you still go to gym? Because if we're gonna do a few rounds with the battery here, You don't need to go to gym anymore. It's quite a heavy item. Whew, we're gonna need the special tools to line out the battery, and hopefully now for good with this EQC. It was an interesting one, but we're gonna talk a bit more in detail after we finish and after we do a drive test, because I think we've learned a lot with this EQC, didn't we? Lal, by now we should be able to position the battery without those, man. But we close, don't we? Huh? See? Really? Look at that. Man, we kind of stopped exactly in position. Huh? We haven't even moved, honestly. Look at that. What about that, huh? We are getting it, man. So we need to apply some, yes, just to protect properly the paint on the cover, and then we are ready to attach the battery to the body. Have a look, an interesting thing. I think this body, a shell, is also fitted on the combustion engine. So what will it be? See, this is for the prop shaft, I would say. Don't you think so? Because in here it's not used. So probably the body is used for same shell. Interesting, isn't it? The Mercedes, it's all one piece. We have a bit more to discuss when it comes to the board, but not just yet. Let's take it for a trip and let's go somewhere nice. And before we set off in another drive test and go where we want to go, we had the car on charge, and with the full battery, this shows now 206 miles. So significantly increase from what it was initially. When it was in balance, what did we had at some point?
So when the car came in, it was only 98.
98.
After fixing, it was 190.
And then even went a bit less because it's in balance. So that's a clear indication the battery is more balanced, and we expect that we're gonna see this car again probably after a few cycles. I don't know, 10-15 cycles, ideally on a slow charge. I'll be curious to see how the battery is gonna look like then. But so far, the EQC looks like it's coming back fine together. So while we driving the EQC, probably it's a good time to touch base on some interesting aspects. Probably hoping that you're gonna have some interaction on those. Leave us a comment with whatever you think is relevant. So, few aspects: is it worth it? Financial point of view, independent versus dealer, and then is it safe? Well, we haven't cut corners on anything when it comes to a safety point of view, so that's obviously it is safe. From this angle, whatever we do, we make sure that everything is done as it's supposed to be done. The solution that we apply on this car is a bit outside the box. It shouldn't be done. Well, there's no procedure for that. Not that it shouldn't be done. There's absolutely no procedure for that. So it's an out of the box solution. Tell me what's your opinion on that, because if we didn't have this solution, the other solution was to replace the full battery. Would you have done it, or you would have go with this solution, which is, by the way, absolutely safe? I would like to hear from you. And from a cost point of view, I think it's easy to get the balance. I would like to know your opinion in the comment section, because I think this is an interesting debate, and the more we clarify aspects, the more everyone can understand about the EV world. What is your opinion in the comment? We are arriving now to the nice place that we said we are going to go, which is Car Key Solutions, the Watford branch. Our go-to partner, Car Key Solutions, is the name for car key and vehicle security, and we are in here today to see Florian, and I think we're going to have an interesting discussion. Let's go in the office and talk. And Florian is going to explain us a little bit about the Mercedes battery module, how it works.
So we had two identical batteries. One of them had a permanent error stored.
Storing, that's saying the control unit has to be replaced.
Okay, so that battery
No, control unit has to be replaced, not the battery. The control unit. Yeah, this is the module.
Okay. So that was due to a failure of some of these cells which were inside the battery, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, it's believe. So anyway, it stored an error.
Okay. That error was stored somewhere in this microprocessor. We were lucky that we had two batteries,
To be able to get
identical batteries that had the same configuration, had the same software, they had the same hardware version of installed inside those modules. So what we had to do, we had to read both modules. One of them was faulty,
and the other.
one of them was okay. So
We basically transferred the data from the other one.
I was just basically cloning the module.
Cloning the module.
But doing some reverse engineering, trying to find out exactly what happened, we did manage to point out where the problem was stored, inside which memory, inside which processor, if I'm right, yeah? So
here how is look the readings. So those are the readings from a good one and
a faulty one.
A faulty one.
This BMS has three major components installed on this PCB. There is a microprocessor on this side of the board. There is another microprocessor here on this board. And this microprocessor has attached to it an external EEPROM, an 8-leg EEPROM. Now, that error that we had last time, it was stored here in this EEPROM. Now, not even the cleverest guy in the world would be able to fix this problem without having a proper functional battery that doesn't have any stored errors over there. So inside the processor, the data is encrypted. This information doesn't make any sense to a normal human eye. Nobody can fix this if you don't have a functional battery, if you don't have a battery that doesn't have any errors registered inside that EEPROM. So what we had to do, basically, we had to grab the information from a functional battery, pour it in the other into the other module. In that way, we've managed to get rid of that error that cannot
restore functionality.
Cannot be cleared.
So what I want to highlight here basically was nothing wrong with the module. It's just some error code that was stored and could not be cleared.
I would say it's just safety. Precaution. So nobody will be able to restore the functionality of the battery without.
But you know what's the problem here? £42,000. Do you understand? I mean,
that's quite a lot of money.
It's a bit shocking.
Yeah.
But I think this is amazing how Florian explained the mechanics behind this electronics, isn't it? And the values that the data that are here to change to get this battery working again and avoid the cost of replacing it all.
So again, the only way to repair this is by cloning a module which is functional, that doesn't have any problems.
But you know what, let me tell you, because this is very interesting to say, remember the alpha that you've done? So at some point we've done an alpha meter. I mean, Florian did it, the one with the alarm on.
Yeah, but that one
it was the same thing.
I did manage to isolate like two lines.
So let me tell you what he did. So the alpha meter had the alarm on and we couldn't program the key.
Yeah.
And Florian read a similar memory. It was in the body control module and managed to identify the lines where the alarm was. And by switching those lines,
I was able to re-enable the program.
Turn the alarm off, really.
Yeah. I was unable to enable the OBD.
That's an interesting, honestly. I mean, this is way out of the box solutions. That was interesting, wasn't it?
The only way you will be able to ever fix this is by having the code in the background for this microprocessor. But this is not available for
Absolutely.
third party. I'm pretty sure of that.
But anyway, the good thing now, Florian, the next EQC. We're gonna
We will be able to fix it faster and easier.
And you know what? We've done a few are the Mercedes, so Florin is really getting there. You know, Florin, I told you I've got a present for you, did I? Do you want to see where this is coming from?
Is this
Have a
Christmas?
look. Have a look where this is coming from. Australia. So one of our viewers, can you give me? One of our viewers has sent us, well, sent Florin a nice present. Let's see what it's all about.
Wow, I'm so
Huh?
happy.
Yes,
Is this a BMW module?
it is a BMW module straight from Australia. A BMW that was not running, and Florin has to work some magic. This is a iX, no i3 or X1. Yes,
I
yeah, I
think-
think it was
I
i3 Rex.
We've done one of these on.
Yeah, so Florin has to work the magic on this one. The BMW i3 from Australia was not running, and they sent the board over here. How nice is that? So we've got viewers all over the world. We got fans all over the world, Florin.
I'm happy because this type of behavior when the manufacturer just closes all the doors and just forces you to spend all that amount of money on these batteries. This is really.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean,
How much
If
was
you
the
think-
battery for this one?
£42,000.
You can buy a new
plus
car.
the VAT. Imagine
You can buy a new car. Has fewer
Definitely.
specs than this one, but I'm pretty
for this
sure
one,
that-
isn't it?
I'm not sure if it really was to.
I think you enjoy seeing Florin explaining all this technicality behind what we've done.
See you
Florin,
next time, yeah.
thanks a lot. We'll see you next time. Florin is always one call away, and don't forget, Car Key Solutions is one stop for car keys and vehicle security. Florin, thank you very much.
Cheers.
So we are back from Watford, and the Mercedes drives absolutely beautiful, exactly how it should. It was an interesting repair with a bit of a roller coaster, and definitely with something new. Now, it's so interesting how everything started and how we found the fix. So how everything started, if you think about it, from something minor, from something a bit silly, if you think about it. The car is being stood with low charge. This is something that it should have be avoided on all electric on hybrid cars. If the car is to go in storage, it always should not be with low charge, because problem like that can occur. And the rule of thumb, it is between 40 and 60%, ideally half. So not fully discharge, not full charge, between on half will be perfect to keep a car in storage, because otherwise things like that can happen. Now, the good thing is we managed to fix the car without using any parts. So what we have now, yeah, we have 68%, 68 miles left, but the battery, it is balanced. We scan it once again to see the stats, and it's perfect. It's on 20 millivolts, and we are very certain driving more, this is gonna come even better in balance. And this figure we also interesting. We're gonna monitor this, and then we might come later on with an update. We expected this state of health to improve. It's a very interesting. Now, I hope I'm explaining good enough, because for me it's so interesting, all this process and how everything works. So I hope I do a good job explaining. Please let me a comment if you believe so. Now, you know, in all this, it was something very interesting, because using the manufacturer tool, the error was saying that the control unit has to be replaced. But why to replace it? It was nothing wrong with it. And it was no procedure to reset the data out of it, to reset basically an error code. Even when we start the procedure, the battery was looking balanced. That's why it's also interesting why it triggered that error code, where the battery, even the one that was 10%, was still balanced. We only seen an imbalance when we charge the battery. In here, there's still a bit of a mystery why the error has been triggered. Obviously, after we've done all the procedure, charging the battery, and we still couldn't get rid of the code, we had the module down, and you've seen what we had to do, and this was the only way. Other than that, we said it before, it was a module replacement. However, module not sold separately, so it will be a new battery. But we're getting closer and closer to develop solutions for those kind of situation, which obviously is going to decrease the cost of repair. And you know what? I think with all the knowledge sharing, owners, they're going to be more informed and they'll know how to use the cars. And to be honest, my opinion is the electric cars are cheaper to maintain. And if there's enough knowledge to understand how they should be handled, the cost comes even cheaper. Let me know what do you think about that, because I know it's a big debate. Yes, no, maybe, but I would like to hear as many opinions as possible, because I think it creates a good community discussion, which in the end it could benefit again the community. So let me know your opinion in that. So we managed to fix this, but what was the cost? Now, interestingly, we haven't used any parts, if we are thinking about it, apart of some seal, coolant, and yeah, other than that, nothing really major. So all was work. How much did we quote it for this work? How much we've done the job for? We know exactly what it was. Obviously, initial diagnostics, stripping the battery, charging the battery, programming the BMS. Then we had to do, have we done coding? We did? Yeah. So we done so many things and so many cars in the workshop all at the same time. And then the balancing was also an interesting issue. And I think it'll be good to touch base on it because, again, sharing knowledge, I think is going to help in long term. So batteries have to be balanced in order to operate correctly and avoid not operating. So let me explain. Operating correctly meaning having the range. If the battery becomes imbalanced, the range goes down. I think if we come around here, we've done a video a few days ago. So here is a battery of a cell level. It's very important they charge at the same level and discharge evenly. So charge and discharge evenly. So what we draw here is a module with some cells. And this line here, it should go up and down evenly on all of them. If one stays behind or go forward in comparison with the other ones, that's when it's going to lose the range. And I hope, I'll try to explain. I hope it's going to make sense. So let's say, for instance, this battery, so let's take it. They all charge. However, no, let's say let's take it on discharge. So they all discharge up to here. But this, because it's a weaker module, it's already here. You know what? This is lost capacity. Because once this module has reached the threshold, the lower threshold, it's not going to use the capacity from the other modules. And this is the lost capacity. Does it make sense? I hope I'm explaining good to make sense. Please leave me a comment. So that's why it's so important, the balance. And with our process, let's go back to the Mercedes. With our process, after we put everything together, it was to balance the battery. And if you think about it, it was more time consuming than a difficult thing. But you would not notice that without really scanning, see the stats of the battery. And we had that single cell number 27, which also a bit of a question mark, a bit of a mystery, why it ended up being slightly out. However, after a few cycles of discharging and slow charging to 100%, it came in balance, because the BMS, that's what it does. It controls, but ever so slightly. It cannot correct very high imbalance. And the other thing is correcting very, very slow. That's why a slow charge is necessary. Anyway, so that's what we've done to get the battery in stats. And the Mercedes should have the range that it's supposed to have. And what we're going to do, we're definitely going to monitor the Mercedes going forward in a month, 2, 3. Again, saying that, going to another discussion that I said in another video, how important is that the battery state of health is checked regularly, because it could spot situation like this, like we had. And you know what would happen if the problem would not have been handled? That imbalance can go bigger and bigger and bigger, up to the point where the BMS is going to say the difference is too big, is a risk, the car will shut down. Obviously, in the same time, the range will decrease. Does it make sense? Let's get down to the figure. So what do you charge for this? It is a whopping, I don't know, you tell me. Oh, not 2.4 pounds, it's 2,400 plus the VAT. Obviously, sealant, coolant, other minor things. But this was the cost for the work we do. Now, if you put it in comparison with the fact that in a way it was a minor thing, it might seem a lot. On the other hand, I think the video has provided a lot of insight and knowledge. In the future, maybe those kind of things to be avoided, because it could have been avoided. Now, you know, sometimes if it's a long-term car, maybe it's not possible. But anyway, if the knowledge is there, many owners can understand and avoid expensive repairs. What is your opinion? Please tell me. Like I said, I'm very excited because it was something very, very technical, and I was so happy to be able to film everything and then put it in a nice video with the guy behind the camera. Mr. Abbey, do you want to show yourself? He doesn't. You know what? We said it so many times, and always he cuts this out. Hopefully not this time. Yes, so this was the Mercedes video where we resurrected a Mercedes that it had half of the capacity lost. And one more thing, probably it's interesting to add as a comparison. This is an electric car that sat a while and has developed this costly problem. Now, if we look at a combustion engine, can something happen if it stays too long? It can. It can. Sometimes it could come a problem on the valve settings. It can happen. Probably, you know, I'm not sure if you put it in comparison percentage-wise, how often or how likely, but it could happen, where depends also where it sits and things like that. But it could happen also for the valves to corrode, for the seats, and they not sit properly anymore, they not seal properly, and could end up with the cylinder head to be removed in order to have this fixed. What would you say about that? Because it's always good to have this comparison, electric, combustion engine, you know, for knowledge to understand better, and also from a cost point of view, it's a good comparison, because that could also be an expensive repair if it comes to it, if you know what I mean. So car sittings, it's always not a very good thing. Obviously, if the right condition are in place, then it's not a problem. Also with the electric car. Does it make sense? Again, a comment. I would like discussion to go on. If you like the video, don't forget to give us a thumb up, leave us a comment. We are so eager to hear your opinion. Please contribute if we missed anything, put it in a comment. It will benefit all the community. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and also the notification button, because every week we've got interesting repairs translated in videos. I'll see you next time.